Good morning, Catherine Hill.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jonathan.
Parsons.
Lovely to be with you.
Lovely to have you in studio, and thank you for making the long journey all the way from the UK to beautiful Cape Town.
It's our absolute pleasure, particularly for the weather. It's snowing at home, I think. So
Oh, really? Oh, my goodness. And here you come to beautiful summer.
there we go.
And in terms of your experiences, Rob, I mean, you're a granddad now, and one of the things that you've said that I've quoted many times is being a grandparent is God's reward for not killing your own children.
You know, the nice thing about being a grandparent, I think, is that you do get that sense of another crack at it. And one psychologist said, it's an unemotionally complicated relationship. You haven't got ultimate responsibility. So we got 5 grandkids. We have 2 children. One, Katie, very compliant. You know, if you have more than one child, you will have chalk and cheese.
Yes.
That is practically a universal thing. And that's particularly galling if the first one is compliant, because that's what lures you into having the second one.
Yes.
And our second one was very testing. I mean, we're going to talk about this in the seminar tonight. Katie came into the world. First thing Katie did was apologise to the midwife for being slightly late. Did I keep you? So honestly, for about 5 years, we think we're brilliant parents.
Yeah.
And we make the dreadful mistake of giving other parents critical advice where they're going wrong. And then Lloyd came along. Lloyd came into the world smoking a cigar. That little boy used to wake up every day of his young life with the same prayer on those tiny lips. Dear God, help me drive my mother crazy today. And every day God answered his prayer. And honestly, and we're going to talk about this tonight. When he was about 14, I prayed, Lord, if I can see him with a child that drives him crazy and says, no, you can take me then. He's got to leave you now. She's 3. And she bangs that little foot and she shakes her little head and says no. And I think any day now, swing low, sweet chariot. Sweet revenge.
Well, let's get some to some of the questions that have been coming through this morning, because parenting is a challenge.
Absolutely.
Whether it's a newborn baby and the sleep cycles, a toddler who bangs the foot and says no, or a teenager who's defiant.
And here's a message that's come through saying, my daughter turned 13 last October and seems to be going through a phase which I assume is normal. How do I handle this? There is an attitude, there's uncleanliness. She doesn't care at all, no matter what I say to her. I know that it will pass because I went through the same with my son. But how do I handle it without breaking his spirit? Because at this moment, I'm frustrated and say things that I sometimes end up regretting. As I know words have power, I do not want to break her. Please advise.
Oh, I so identify with that. And we hear that all the time. We often say that on a child's 13th birthday, something very interesting happens. We've got a fun clip that we show in one of our seminars when the parents put their daughter to bed on the night of her 13th birthday, and she's so sweet and lovely, and then in the morning the door opens and somebody very different appears. But that's so common, and that lady actually has said that she's seen her son through it, and I think that's the thing to hang on to, that the teenage years do pass. There's so much going on in their bodies, in their brains. We'll talk about that tonight, about what goes on in the teenage brain. Some really interesting stuff that means it's actually not all their fault at all. And it's really hanging on in there. And I think that lady mentioned the power of words. And there's a proverb that says that our words have the power of life and death. And we can literally be speaking life to our teenagers. We might have to do it through gritted teeth when they're driving us crazy. But being able to try to keep going with the positive things, trying to snatch those little bits of time and communication, and to be firm on the times when they're pushing the boundaries too far as well. But that will see them through.
Okay, and then another message coming through saying, good morning, I just came through a divorce. I left my 16-year-old with his dad. I tried to go back for my son's sake, but the dad doesn't want me. Please help me to find a way for helping my son through his emotions. He expresses them in a way that is very confused and all over the place. I'm so worried that I need to get a place whereby I can take him and have him with me. I'm currently living in a shelter for abused women. Please help. I am heartbroken.
You know, we hear a lot of this too, and it literally is heartbreaking. That's the right phrase. And I think this mum, in a sense, needs to do what she can. In other words, to stay as much in touch with this child as possible. And sometimes when there's this kind of family breakdown, the other person will make that very difficult. But you need to keep doing it. Phone when you can. Send birthday cards when you can. Send presents when you can. What you're looking for here is perhaps in 2 or 3 years' time, even longer than that, for this child to look back and say, you know, my mum couldn't spend as much time with him as she wanted, but boy did she try. She was always there for me. But it is difficult because it might be that her husband is trying to sometimes turn her son against her and say very negative things, and it's literally heartbreaking, but you're trying to do as much as you can. And you know, sometimes, and I know that many of your audience will have real faith, prayer is just about all we've got left, because all the other avenues seem so impossible. But in a sense, that is a very wonderful thing, because God can do things that we simply can't do and change hearts.